Agenda meeting of the combined agenda and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council. It's called to order on this May 31st, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. At this time, I would like us all to please rise and pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have the roll call, please?
Councilman Charles DePiero.
Here.
Councilman Michael Markell.
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel.
Here.
Council Vice President Terrence Van Zora.
Here.
Council President Miriam Cohen.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Please read the Sunshine Law into the record.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1. Posted on the bulletin board within the municipal building on April 28, 2023, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2. Printed in the Home News Tribune on April 28, 2023. 3. Posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4, sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the council president.
Thank you. We have two presentations this evening. One was on May 14th, 2023, a celebration of Raymond A. Perry. The second proclamation was May 22nd through June 4th. Is Click It or Ticket mobilization. We have two presentations. I'd like to call on Chief Bianis, please, for the presentation regarding the Blue Envelope Program.
Thank you,
Sir,
Council President.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having us. First off, I'd like to preface this by saying that I would love to take credit for this program that was brought to my attention, but I can't. April is Autism Awareness Month. And with that being said, a resident contacted the mayor, and the mayor then reached out to me in reference to a program which I then assigned Sergeant Silvestri to actually research and see if we could implement. With that being said, let me introduce Sergeant Silvestri. I don't want to get any of the facts wrong, so he can come up and tell you what's correct.
Good evening. Thanks to the chief. The mayor, the council, it's an honor to be here for this program.
Did you know?
Try this one.
Thank you to the chief, the mayor, the council, the mayor's assistant was a great help with this also, and it's an honor to be here for this program. Just like the chief said, the Blue Envelope program came to our attention back in April from one of the residents here in Monroe with an autistic child. We did some research on it, and we felt it was going to be a very good program for the township, and we were able to accomplish it. With support from the community and some other officers, we were able to get this program put in place. The Blue Envelope program, you may have seen in the news, it is up in northern New Jersey in some townships. It's been met with very great success. So we're proud to have it here in Monroe now, and it'll further expand the positive impact that we have on our community. All right, so the Blue Envelope program, essentially, there's this blue envelope right here. It's going to assist in interactions between police officers and someone with autism during a motor vehicle stop. A motor vehicle stop can cause some nervousness for some drivers, obviously. So with this program, it's going to help facilitate a better communication between the officer and the driver. So the driver or the participant in the program will be set up with this blue envelope. On the front side here, it basically explains some instructions for the driver to follow. So it's going to explain to them, make sure you keep your hands on the steering wheel where the officer can see them. The officer may be utilizing a flashlight at night Obviously, the bright lights on the patrol vehicle can be distracting. And then this is also going to contain the documents for the motor vehicle. So, for example, the insurance card, the registration card, they can have their driver's license in here. So it keeps it all in one spot to make it very simple for them. It also, on the reverse side here, is going to have some instructions for the police officer. It will explain if the driver is verbal or nonverbal, which may make a difference in the motor vehicle stop with communication. Remind the officer to speak very clearly and provide clear directions and explanations. And also, on the card that will go inside the envelope, it has 2 places to put phone numbers for emergency contacts. Sometimes if the officer and the driver's having trouble communicating, reaching out to a family member, a friend, something like that will help facilitate better communication. So again, the participant will be given one of these envelopes. The card will be inside. It's going to have their name, parent guardian information, emergency contacts. And just like I said in the beginning of this, I think this is a very positive program for the township, for the police department, and will continue the township's positive impact on our community. If anybody's interested, for a family member, a friend, anybody you know, they can contact police headquarters, and we will set them up with an appointment to come in. They can sit down with an officer and be given their blue envelope. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just to add one more thing. The governor recently, I think this past week, did pass a new law putting these kind of documentations and for these for the autism, and they're allowed to put it on their license now. That's not both the programs will complement each other. One's not better than the other. You can actually get both of them. This was done by, as I said, by a couple of townships up north, and then presented to us. The mayor brought it to us, and we ran with it. And I'd like to thank him again. And Council President, this is going to be like I mean, Sergeant mentioned that a motor vehicle stop is a little stressful for someone who's a little bit on the spectrum. Motor vehicle stops is stressful for everybody. You don't have to be on any kind of spectrum. So I mean, this will really help out a lot. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone wish to comment on that before we move to the next presentation? Any council member? Okay. Moving right along, the next item on the agenda is the recognition of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. Many of us hold the Youth Advisory Committee near and dear to our hearts. The mayor will be presenting these certificates to the students. Sir, the microphone, please.
Thank you, Council President. We're going to have Councilwoman Rupa Siegel join us. She's the liaison. We bit of history in regards to the Youth Advisory Committee. This committee started probably about 5-7 years ago now. Here I am, a history major, and I can't give a definitive date, but that just is my age. Actually, it was Mayor Tamburo who started this program. His grandson participated in it in the state of California, so he brought it here to Monroe Township. At the time when I was on the council, I was the liaison to the Youth Advisory Committee, and the first year obviously was the learning curve. We kind of jumbled a little bit. The focus of it truly was to have the students learn more about their government, the town that they live in. So it was made up of a variety of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And we came in here, we would meet in the council chambers, and we kind of did some Robert's rules and in the election of a chair and a vice chair. And then we subsequently brought in some of our department heads from our various departments just for the students to kind of see, hey, this is government that for the town that you live in. But it was also that opportunity that we decided to start hey, listen, they have some great ideas. Let's hear from them. So from that, the following year, they decided they want to do a large project, and we did a mock drunk driving from the genesis to the end, from the actual crash. And they set it up with a particular scenario, with a prom night, and they held it at the stadium across the street there by the high school. And then subsequently, we were brought over to the high school auditorium where we had a judge come in and then do a mock trial as well. And then we had somebody come in from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So it was a great start to this program. Ultimately, over the years, we brought in some more students. I know Council President Cohen was the liaison, and now Councilwoman Siegel is. We had the luxury of learning a little bit about what they did. I'm not gonna say too much more about that because I'm sure Councilwoman Siegel is going to bring up some things. But this is the beautiful thing about Monroe Township. This is what we love. It's a untapped source of information, and the sky is the limit from them. And again, talking from somebody who's on the other end of that age hill there, just to hear what they did this past year was truly inspiring. So with that, I do want to congratulate everybody. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Councilwoman Siegel. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to add a little more of what the kids did this year. They met once a month since probably about November. We had many students apply. It was open to Monroe high school age students, so you didn't have to go to high school. You just need to live in Monroe. Their resumes were impressive. It was hard to choose these students, but we did come up with 20 students to participate in this. And we did structure the program a little bit where they got to learn about municipal government. They heard from some of our departments like the police, the EMS, the clerk's office, just to get an idea of how the township works. We also challenged the students. We asked them early on to share some of their thoughts and have discussions around what do you feel you would like to see in the community? What are your thoughts on different topics? And just to really look at things through their lens and get their ideas. And the students rose up and they really focused on 4 key areas that they did a lot of their projects around. The 4 projects were the connection with senior citizens, engaging with local businesses, broadening mental health resources, and composting. So you can see they really deep dived into these areas. And about 2 weeks ago, we had the students finish up their projects and share their findings and their projects with the mayor and the town council so that they can get their voices heard, which it does take a lot of courage for them at this age. And I have to say they really wowed us with what they presented, but they opened our eyes to some of the thoughts that they felt, which again takes courage to be able to come up and share their thoughts at this level. So I do want to congratulate you all again. I know Ariana Yusufasi, who is our advisor, couldn't be here tonight, and I know she shares the same sentiments as me, but we are very proud of all the work you've done, and we are really looking forward to your impact on the world. But let it be known, you've already made an impact here in the community because we've all heard everything you brought to the forefront. So with that, I'd like to recognize the students that are here today. These are very busy students, so we only have a few of them here tonight, but we'd like to recognize them, and then I'll also read the names of the other members of the commission. So again, thank you and congratulations to you all. So I'm going to read your name, and you'll come up, and the mayor will hand you your certificate, and then we'll take a little group picture at the end. So the first is Jason Apaya. Thank you. Monica Grace. I don't know if you're here. Don't see her. Sydney Jackson. Shreya Madaneni. I don't see Shreya. Tarika Madaretti. Dendril Nirmal. Akash Taluri. I don't see him. And Jeanette Zanoon. And I'll read the names of the remaining students who aren't here tonight. Narayani Achatuni, Nia Kadagan, Anushri Devi, Jayani Datta, Shreya Harish, Chris Jason, Trisha Joshi, Gabriel Klemansky, Rui Kulkarni, Anoki Patel, Anj Patel, Reina Patel, Gurbani Singh, Rohan Singh, Parth Tripathi, and Rian Sahidani. So congratulations again.
Yes. Yes, yes. We're going to take notice the hands are fluctuating, 2-minute, 5-minute, a recess so that we can get a picture of the students. We would be honored if you would come forward so we can do that. Thank you. We'll begin with the reading of Ordinance 6, second reading. Christine.
Ordinance 05-2023-017, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 122, Article 13 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to authorize the police to enforce Title 39 of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Code in Regency at Monroe. Ordinance 05-2023-018, Ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 122, Article 13 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to authorize the police to enforce Title 39 of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Code in fairways at Forest Gate.
Ordinances for introduction is Ordinance 05-2023-019. It's the ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of Township of Monroe entitled Fees. MTUD annually required develop a connection fee adjustment. Item 8 are budget resolutions. Resolution providing that the 2023 municipal budget be read by title at the time of the public hearing. Resolution 5-2023-148, the resolution adopting the 2023 municipal budget. Item 9, the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda at the May 31st, 2023 regular meeting. That is R5-2023-149 through R5-2023-168. I would request that all council people would review or re-review these resolutions. If there are any that you would like removed from the consent agenda, please state now.
Council President, I have two.
Yes, sir.
R5 2023-152. R5 2023-153.
Thank you. Any
Well-
other council members have any resolutions they need removed at this time? We're going to move to the public comment section. I would like a motion to open the public comment section of the agenda session, limited to agenda items only, 5 minutes per speaker. May I have a motion, please? Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Anyone wishing to address the council at this time, please come forward, stating your name and address for our record and be recognized. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, Grossman, 50 Doral Drive, Regency at Monroe. Just
Thank you.
briefly, I strongly support this resolution regarding the police getting involved in traffic enforcement within our community. It's long overdue. We've been fighting these cop laws, if I call them, going through stop signs, speeding and so forth, so I strongly support it. And I think most of our community does as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the council now? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to request a motion to close the public comment section, please. Someone-
Motion.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn the agenda session at this time. A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
Time and roll call, please.
The time is 6:53. Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Regular meeting is called to order. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 1st, 2023 meeting, both the agenda and regular meeting?
So moves.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thanks. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Thank you. The clerk, please read the ordinance for second reading. Here.
The minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did
okay.
that again. Didn't I do
That's
that again?
okay.
Yes, we have a motion to approve those minutes. We need a roll call to approve those minutes, please.
Motion.
Motion, please, I thought.
Move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Yes, roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen. Motion carried.
Yes. Okey dokey. Second reading, please.
Ordinance 05-2023-017, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 122, Article 13 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to authorize the police to enforce Title 39 of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Code in Regency at Monroe.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on this?
So moved.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Anyone wishing to address us on this ordinance, please come forward now. You spoke earlier. Did you wish to come forward again?
Makes it official, that way.
Oh, well.
I, Grossman, 15 Doral Drive, in Regency at Monroe. I strongly support this change in the rules and regulations and regarding traffic enforcement within our community. It's long overdue. As I indicated, we have people going through stop signs, ignoring speed limits. We just introduced bumper stops in the community as well. They go right through. So I think it's a good idea, and
We thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address the council on this issue? Seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 05-2023-017, please?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion carries, all voted in favor. Next is 05-2023-018. It's an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 123, Article 13 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to authorize the police to enforce Title 39 of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Code in fairways at Forest Gate. This will again is traffic enforcement in fairways at Forest Gate Links Drive. I'd like a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Anyone wishing to address the council on this resolution, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
May I have a second on that, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I would like a motion to adopt ordinance 05-2023-018, please.
Motion to adopt.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries, all voted in. -019. Ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of Monroe Township of Monroe entitled Fees. I'd like a motion, please.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Next,
Motion carries.
motion carries. Item 6 is the 2023 municipal budget, R5 2023-147 resolution providing that the 2023 municipal budget be read by title at the time of the public hearing. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget introduced on May 1st, 2023. Motion to open the public hearing, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Vanzora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Public hearing on the municipal budget that was introduced May 1st of 2023 is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council on this budget, please come forward now. Mr. Grossman, yes, sir.
Again, hi, Grossman, 15 Doral Drive, Monroe.
Your mic.
Just briefly.
I think it has to be closer, maybe
It is.
closer, move the mic closer.
Can you lower
He
it?
has the light, he's just not close enough.
Thank
He
you.
pulls it closer.
The chairs are lower, we're not. Yeah, good.
All right. I didn't get a chance, couldn't find this on the website at all. I had trouble anyway, but I got this tonight, so. One thing I always ask about is in the utility department, what's the trend in connection fees? I don't see a breakout of that number in the revenues. It does show up in the audit a year later, but.
Right.
Mr. Weinberg?
And I may defer on that to our CFO who can come up, but I think it's been about $2.3 million, and it's been fairly steady. It does ebb up and down a little bit each year. It obviously won't go on forever, but it's been pretty stable, if I recall, between like 1.7 and like 2.5. Does that sound right, George? Over the past since 5 or 6 years I've been here.
I would be concerned about too much dependency on it, of course. You know, should the economy tank? Hopefully not, but that's one of the items I look for. Overall, the budget looks great.
I thank you. Yes, of course.
Go towards the light.
You want me to go towards the light, don't you? You and a lot of other people. Not yet.
Your name and address for our records, please.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street. So I have a couple questions. I hope you will allow me to go through them. On sheet, I guess it's 9I or 9-1. It's an I there, but it might be a 1. It's the current fund anticipated revenues. It says private revenues. Everything's X'd out except at the bottom, realized in cash 2022, $363,744. And where did that come from?
Mr. Weinberg?
So I think that, and George will correct me if I'm wrong. So there are, I don't believe there's any private revenues, but this is the sum of the previous page. So just pulling this together. So if you look at the page before, if I
Yes.
really quickly, this is the sum of those. If there was anything
Okay.
to be listed on that page, it would have been listed.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Construction, Uniform Construction Code appropriations. I don't know if that has, okay, I'll wait. The Uniform Construction Code appropriations can that be, that's salary and wages, is that just the budget for that department?
I believe so. I'm just pulling up the page that you're
I'm
on.
sorry, sheet 16.
Yes, that's just for the department.
That's the department budget, okay. And where is the collection, what sheet page is the collection of those fees? On what sheet page, please? On page, sheet 6?
Correct.
Page 6.
Okay, oh, I missed that one, thank you. I had it marked, but I passed it on. Okay, so the uniform construction fees realized in 2022 are $2,428,676.
Correct.
Now, from what I understand, is that withheld the first year they're collected and then it goes into the budget the next year? Could you explain how that works, please?
And George will correct me if I'm wrong, but it goes right into the budget. So as you accurately pointed out, we collected $2,428,000 last year, and we're anticipating $2,425,000 this year. It's right as it rolls into the following year's budget, anything that we get. That's revenue.
So so in other words, 2022's $2,100,000 was not in the general budget, but it then becomes realized for the 2023 budget? So it's available in 2023, but you know about it in 2022, is that?
So the way it works, and again, the CFO, correct me, we anticipated last year $2.1 million,
Okay.
but we actually brought in $2.428 million. So that extra revenue goes into our surplus, which we can talk about, that ultimately is part of our overall budget.
So is it kept as surplus or does it go, when does it go into the general budget?
Right, so the budget is balanced based on having taxes and revenues that you're going to have, and that's how we get to the $69.7 million. $44.8 million in taxes, and then the additional money in things like this. And so if you come in under, you could have a problem. If you come in over, it carries forward into the end of your year results, which go into your building of the following year's budget. Now, we started this year, just to give an example, with a $14.9 million surplus, 9.9 of which we used within the budget, which I can explain, and we ended the year about $460,000 higher than that. And that's the result of all the things that are inside this budget, including this item right here. So this immediately flows into the following year's budget by additional revenues that are unanticipated, above the amount that you put in your budget.
Okay, so if we go to the 2% cap, this is not counted in the 2% cap until the following year?
Okay, so
Sorry to be.
No, these are all great questions. So we're 0% this year because there's just two caps, and hopefully I'm not taking too much of your time, but there's the 2% levy cap, which is the cap to rate when you raise taxes, and we're obviously at this year at 0, so we're not even close to it, and you get to carry it forward for a certain number of years. And then there's a separate cap. That cap came on in 2009 under Governor Christie. 2009, 2010. Previously, there was something called a spending cap from 1977, which is called an appropriations cap of how much money you can spend. And that can go up to 3.5% as well. So just in terms of understanding your question, and maybe George can help me answer this, in terms of this isn't really spending, so it's not part of the cap, it's income. So it's not really covered by the cap. Your overall budget, I don't want to speak too long, but your overall budget is capped by those two things I just said.
And how often do we rely on that? Because we're obviously an expanding community with a lot of construction fees. And I'm wondering if we are relying on $2.5 million or $2 million on a regular basis. And I see Mr. Raynon saying no. So, but can someone explain that? Because here's what I'm worried about. If we,
Well, the Uniform Construction Code fees are dedicated in the budget, George, correct me if I'm wrong, for the operation of that department.
Only, yes.
So, of that department only.
I could do that.
So we understand, right, George? I just wanna make
And
sure.
we have to certify to
We have to
DCA.
certify, so it's literally a trust fund of those fees, and it's used for, those appropriations are used solely for those departments. They're dedicated revenue.
but what
So
would they, like, for example, what would they be used for?
They'd be used for the salaries and wages of the construction code officials. That's
Correct.
essentially what it's the salary and wages.
And healthcare and pension.
Healthcare, well.
And vehicles.
And vehicles, but it's just for the support of that department. So if your revenue, dropped to $1 million, then you would obviously then reduce the number of people in that department because that revenue supports that department. It's always
Solely.
self-supporting.
You don't
Correct.
take any of that money into the general fund?
I'm going to ask George as to if there's any portion of it that goes into the general fund.
Can he go to the mic?
Yeah, can you go to the
No,
mic?
he will,
George? Okay.
he will.
I thought he was going to give me a hand sign.
Yeah.
I would have translated.
Yeah, every year we report to DCA of how the money is spent, because it's not only salaries, it's as we said, health benefits, it's pension costs, it's vehicles, anything regarding maintaining that department. It just happens to run through our budget on both sides, so it looks like there's an excess, but there's not really, because There's other parts of the budget where there's expenses.
Does any of that money go to the engineering department? Like, we have engineers and everything that have to do with that?
No, that wouldn't
They're
be part of
involved in the
it. That's not
code.
part of the calculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that.
Okay.
And I think I have only one more at this time. On sheet number 19, were there any, on F, it's current fund appropriations, were there any judgments against the township? Doesn't seem to be, but there's X's on the reserve.
So,
Sheet
and
19.
we don't have anything in the judgment line. I don't recall any judgments. I didn't, the second part of your question, I wasn't sure where you were mentioning. I apologize.
On
Okay,
sheet
yeah.
19, the X's.
Yeah, there are no judgments.
That means there's not, okay.
Yes.
I think at this point, I am going to continue to review, but I thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor
You're most
Delina,
welcome.
for keeping it cool this year. And hopefully, we can get some revenue for the schools.
Thank you. Just for the edification of anyone else who isn't good with abbreviations like I am, DCA stands for Department of Community Affairs. If anyone else has a question or comment on the budget, please come forward now. Hearing and seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Public hearing is closed. Mr. Reno?
Yes, and Council President, it's, Ryan, as you mentioned, DCA, periodically DCA conducts a technical review of municipal budgets. It's done on a kind of a regular cycle. This is a year for our review, so after first reading, it was submitted to them. We cannot technically adopt it until DCA has given us that sign off. So I would ask that you entertain a motion to table consideration of this to your next meeting, which I believe is June 26th,
Yes.
right?
Yes, June
That's the date,
26th
yes.
for
right.
adoption at that point in time. But you conducted the public hearing is concluded, so at the next meeting you will just adopt. And if there is any technical changes by DCA, which is possible, you would make those changes at the time before adoption.
Very good. Thank you very much. May I have a motion to table R5 2023-148, table till the June 26th council meeting? Motion, please.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Motion to table is approved unanimously. We move to item 7, resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda. Would the clerk please read the number and those that would have been abstracted from this?
That would be Resolution R5 2023-149 through R5 2023-168, with the exception of R5 2023-152 and 153.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second on that motion,
Second.
please? Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, number 8, with the resolutions removed from the consent agenda, please.
We have R5 2023-152 and R5 2023-153.
Again, may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Move to the administrator's report. Please, Mr.
Yep.
Weinberg.
Thank you very much, Council President. Before I begin, I'll just ask Joe Stroin to give us an update on the landfill, the BFI landfill, if you would. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Council-
Mr. Stroy.
Thank you. To update you on the progress that was made since my report of last meeting, the pump station is essentially complete with the exception of the control panel, which is the actual intelligence that will run the pump station once it's put into service. As I mentioned last month, that was due to supply chain issues that have affected the nation. But I have great news in that the control panel shipped from the factory in Wisconsin on Monday, and it should be here within a couple of days. And it'll take probably a week or so to get that control panel installed, and then we'll go through the appropriate tests. And again, we're still optimistic that we will have the pump station and the force main up and running prior to school letting out.
Thank you, Mr. Strong. Mr. Weinberg, back to you.
Yep, thank you very much, Mr. Ryan. Just a couple brief updates, and Mark may touch on this as well. The 4 miles of road projects that we'll be doing most likely in July and August that went out to bid and had 9 bids, and we were able to also include the municipal complex and EMS. I know they're doing a pre-con meeting, so we're super excited about that. I know that the council members may mention also, but I had the opportunity to see the upgraded recycling yard. It really is quite nice. So I want to thank the mayor and council for their efforts on that. I want to thank the DPW, which did a great job of sort of laying it out and putting it together right. We definitely have a good thing there. And I also want to thank Mark and his team for helping to design it. It's a really nice improvement for the town. And then finally, and hopefully we'll have a ribbon cutting up on this soon, as we approach the 10th anniversary of the Senior Center, but the Senior Center gazebo out back is now up, which creates a lot more activity on the back side of the Senior Center, where it provides some shade so we can do more outdoor activities, which is a nice feature to continue to utilize the building successfully. So those are my updates, Council President. Thank you.
Very much. Mr. Asmowitz.
Thank you, Council President. Quick update on a couple of the projects, the demolition project of the home on Mounts Mills and the home on Docks Corner. That's progressing. The Mounts Mills home has been demolished, and they're moving towards the home on Docks Corner. Veterans Park, the ADA restrooms and the park's maintenance facility, that's well under construction. However, as I reported at the last meeting, we're still waiting on some of the materials that have been back ordered, including some of the block, the windows, countertops, bathroom dividers, and some other accessories. So again, we're hopeful that that's starting to trickle in over the next couple of weeks, and we can get this the building buttoned up and completed as quick as possible. As Alan had mentioned, the 2023 roads paving project that's about to get underway. It's 16 roadways, the municipal lot as well as the EMS building parking lot, and the concrete work's going to be starting in the next couple weeks, and the paving is scheduled for July and August. And the last item, Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, it was an NJDOT grant. That project is designed. It was sent to NJDOT for their final approval to go out to bid. So once I get their approval, we'll be out to bid. I'm hopeful to have that and be able to award it at the next council meeting. So hopefully the state responds quickly. And that's my report.
Before we move, we're going to move to the council reports now, but from my point of view, Mr. Weinberg, I was at the new Recycling Convenience Center. I may have gotten all 3 names correct. And I had the pleasure of touring the center, looking at the foam machine, seeing the product it produces at the end, and that is a product that can be sold so that revenue comes in. The devices to watch how we can manage our recyclables to increase the profitability and increase recycling efforts, and to look at a facility that is clean and bright with employees that seem to really enjoy being there was indeed a pleasure. And I would urge everyone, if you haven't seen it, pay them a visit, drop off some recycling, and be impressed. Be impressed, because it is in itself an impressive facility staffed by impressive people. I'm going to move to the first council report. Mr. DePiro, please.
Thank you very much. I just I wanted to ask our township engineer about Prospect Plains and Applegarth Road, if we can get an update on that intersection.
That's a county-sponsored project. However, we're doing the land acquisitions, and we're in the process of acquiring the land. I think a couple are going to condemnation, so we're going through that process at this time.
When do you think that would be ready for bid, that project?
Depending on how long the whole process takes for condemnation, as you know, that goes through the court, and that's a legal issue. So it's designed and ready to go. It's just pending acquisition of these final parcels.
Okay, thank you. And then the next one would be Old Bridge Englishtown Road and Mounts Mill. Anybody that travels over there during rush hour, it seems like it's been years, because it has been years. Everybody keeps asking what's going on. We do know, since then we saw it on the agenda today for a bid for R3M to do for a water conflict. But can you give us an update, like on that project and the timeline on when that from start to finish, so we can tell our residents what's going on?
Sure, Council President. Again, that's a county-sponsored project. They bid the project. It's about to be awarded at the next commissioners meeting, county commissioner meeting. And I don't have the schedule of the time of completion, but once the county awards and the contracts are in place, they'll have a pre-construction meeting, and at that time, a full schedule will be provided by the contractor. And I could provide an update at that time.
Who's the apparent low bidder?
I don't have that information.
Yeah,
It
it
hasn't
was
been
on the
awarded.
county agenda last night, and the low bidder, I think, was, I don't want to speak, I remember looking at it and seeing it was BlackRock. But we could look up the county agenda, it's not our agenda.
As the councilman in that ward, I'd like to be at that pre-con meeting. If you could please let me know. I'd like to be there at that pre-con meeting when the county has the contractor there, along with our professionals. I'd like to be there. So can you please let us know when that would be, the council? I'd like to be present.
Councilman, I know in the past, the county doesn't allow members of the governing body to come to pre-construction. Excuse me, the county doesn't allow members of the council to come to pre-construction meetings. Those are for professionals and the contractor. Sorry, the light's on. So I'm not sure that's possible.
All right, but I like to be present as a citizen, as a taxpayer and a citizen, because I've been asked questions since I've been sitting up here on when that road was going to be improved.
Sure.
And it's a continued question that comes in front of us all the time. So I just like to know when it is, and if I can be present, I'd like to be present.
The answer is it's not a public meeting, so the members of the public aren't there either. It's a pre-construction meeting with a contractor and the county and municipal professionals. So that's the limited attendance.
Okay. All right. And I also wanted to point out this past month was First Aid Awareness Week, and we all saw it on social media. We all saw it through our first aid department, where we would acknowledge them and thank them for everything that they do on a 365-day, 24/7 basis. And I just wanted to thank them again, for everything that they do for our residents and our surrounding neighborhoods as well. And as we were talking before about the DPW and the foam machine that they received through a grant, that's something that's going to be very beneficial for our residents, and it'll be definitely beneficial for our employees. There's a department that many of our departments in our town, our employees, are second to none, where everybody works hard to make Monroe what it is. And we need to appreciate the worth ethics that they have, and the dedication that all our departments have in Monroe. But when you go to the DPW, it used to be a place called Triangle Lumber that we purchased many years ago for a $600,000 figure that everybody said, wow, what are we going to do with that complex? And now you look at it and you see what we've had accomplished over the years, and we continue to accomplish. The paving that was done at the Tom Allen softball fields and the construction department and the Michael DePiro DPW, as he was one of the past council that supported that project, and he had the foresight for that complex. And now when you see what they've done, I've been there many times through the construction, and our workers did a phenomenal job. Our contractor did a phenomenal job. Our engineering department did a phenomenal job. And that's what happens when you do teamwork, and they did a really good job for all of us. And when you go down there, you like our township, our president council said, she went and she got the tour, and it's really a pleasure to be part of that team and to go down there and watch these employees do their job on a daily basis. And whatever we ask them to do, they always rise to the occasion. If it's snow, if it's leaves, if it's an event like it was at Memorial Day, they're there. They're always there for us. So that's something that I take pride in. I take pride in sitting up here and being part of, and I also take pride in a lot of the projects that we've built over the years in this town. So it's very important to acknowledge and to recognize the hard work that was put into all of this, and the rewards that all of us can benefit for the DPW. And I just want to say thank you. I want to thank our CFO department for this budget work. I know you got many of my emails and you responded to many of them, and we had a meeting, with you guys, and you asked the question. We answered the questions. I just want to say, it's a budget that makes everybody aware of what's going on in the real world today. Because to run your household budget, it's very hard to keep everything intact and keep things moving forward. And there's a lot of moving parts in this budget, and I just wanted to put a shout out to our CFO and his department with Lori and everybody and say thank you. And then we have the clerk's office. As we know, Election Day is coming Tuesday. You guys always rise to the occasion, and you always get a call from me like, what's the results, what's going on? And you guys are always there. You work hard, and I just want to say, good luck to all the candidates, and as always, thank you for what the clerk department does during the election. I just want to say thanks again. I had a question. I sent an email reference to Spotswood Englishtown Road, the drainage and the repaving. We talked about it last year. The county, I guess, put it out there that they were going to come back, remill, do some redrainage from Michael Lane to Norma, get some standing water on some of those intersections, and the waviness of the paving. So I guess my question would be, do we have any kind of anything? Are they going to do anything, or are they not going to do anything, or do we have any idea what's going on with that project?
All right, Engineer, please.
Council President, at this point, I don't have any schedule of them coming back in to do any repaving or the drainage work. We've been talking to them to try to get the drainage going, and they have been milling and paving in town. So we were hopeful that was going to happen by now, but it hasn't. So I don't have a schedule for you, though.
All right. So my feeling and my thoughts about this, I give it, like I said, I sent a couple emails, and I also I think that going forward, the last project they paved over some MTUD valves on Buccaloo Avenue. You go down Prospect Plains where they did some paving. There's some seams in front of the TD Bank that are kind of rough. They came in late last year, and they did some paving when it was kind of cold. And that's what happens when you do street paving, where you don't close the roads. Everybody tries to get the job done, and then when we get the end results aren't what you expect. So maybe going forward, when the county comes into our township, that we have our inspectors, MTUD, along with our engineering, at these sites when they're out there paving. Because maybe that's something that could have been looked at when they did the paving on Spotswood Englishtown, and after the road's paved, you don't get that bumpiness, or you don't get the water sitting there. So maybe one of our inspectors would have caught something like that, or maybe they wouldn't pave over a valve. You find out later on after you do an as-built, or you look at the video and you find out that the valve's missing. So maybe that's something we should do, put the county on notice and say, anytime you come back in here paving, we will have our inspectors there, because it is in Monroe Township, and all roads to me are the same. If it's a state highway, a county, or a township, we're still responsible, and it's still our taxpayers' money. If it goes to the county, if it goes to the state, it's still our residents that deserve to be, to have the work done correctly. So I think that's something going forward. Maybe we should look into. Veterans Day, not Veterans Day, Memorial Day, we were all at Veterans Park, and it was a very nice turnout, very large turnout. We used to have we used to have 3, then we had 2, and then we have 1 ceremony, but it was a very nice turnout. Everybody were paying their respects because of the ultimate sacrifice that many made for all of us to be here today and have what we have today and our freedom. So it was a day that we respect the families and the lost ones and the ones that are still serving today. So it was something that I was proud to be there, and along with all of you guys there and women. It was really nice, and I just want to say thank you. MTUD, last 2 months, been going around doing some hydrant flushing. Just want to say thank you to Joe and his staff, and that's something that, you guys do it during the everyday traffic and at night, and you always, you turn the valve and the water's on, you flush the toilet, and it goes to Saraville. So everything's good. So, I just want to say thank you and to your staff and appreciate, what you guys do on a 24/7, 365. Thank you. Yesterday, I'm the liaison for the Shade Tree Commission, and Arbor Day was yesterday. So Tidbury Nursery donates a tree. Was a lilac tree. We had kindergartners there. We had 3rd graders there. It was a really nice event. Our arborister, Gary, did a great job. His granddaughter was there giving the kids tattoos, stickers that when they gave the right answers. It was something that was very educational, and it was very well organized and done. I just want to thank Pam and the Oak Tree School administration. The superintendent was there, and the board president was there. It was something that was really nice and to be part of, and to watch that. And now the tree was donated, and it was something that I appreciated, and I thought it was really a nice thing. And the last thing was Armed Forces Day, May 25th. May 25th is a tough day. It was the day where I lost my dad 28 years ago. And, it's something that really close to my heart. I'm a family-oriented person, and my dad was my rock. And when I got the email, that was the day that the Armed Forces, my dad was the Korean War, and he was in Germany along with my father-in-law as well. And it's just something that I went there, and I just thought that the schools did a really nice job with all the armed forces. We were all there, and it was something that, was really close to my heart, like I said, because of my dad, but and my father-in-law as well. But it's just something I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that served and everybody that's still serving, and the schools did a really nice job on recognizing Armed Forces Day. And that's all I have, and we got Happy Father's Day coming soon, so don't forget Happy Father's Day. Thank you.
Okay, sure, Council President, I just wanted to say the county does a good job paving throughout Monroe Township. I've seen other roads within the county that don't get the attention that Monroe does. The issue on Spotswood Englishtown Road was an equipment malfunction issue for a small portion of the roadway, and again, that is planned to be addressed. As far as the drainage problems at two of the intersections, those issues have existed for years, so we're trying to work with the Middlesex County, and they've been cooperative to try to get it corrected on both those intersections. But again, it's been an issue that's been out there for a while. And lastly, as far as, occasionally valves get paved over. We're going to work closely with Joe's office at MTUD when the county is paving, and to ensure they have their risers and everything they need to raise those boxes and ensure that they don't get paved over.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Well, my first month as a councilman was pretty interesting. I had to be in a plethora of places all the time, which thank you for the administration here in this building, kept me going, had me in the right place at the right time. They did a fantastic job. My first two commissions were the Open Space Commission and the Commission on Aging. And I thought when I first saw Commission on Aging, I didn't think I was old enough to be aged. But it turned out it was really basically working with the senior center, which is, everybody knows how wonderful our senior center here is in Monroe. When I went to the meeting, I really wasn't aware of the thousands of, every month, literally 1,000 people walk through that building. There were over 4,000 registers for different courses and different programs. Just to give you an example, the transportation department services over 1,000 trips a month, which is crazy. It's really, really amazing, really amazing. So I just want to give a shout out to the administration there. They deserve it. These people work so hard there. It's truly amazing. One thing I do want to say, if anybody wants to register at the senior center, go early in the day. A lot of people show up at 4:15. These people are ready to go home. The poor people work so hard. Give them a break. I want everybody out there to know you just please try to get there a little early. My other commission was the open space. The commission is supposed to analyze where we can put open space here in Monroe and make recommendations to the council. It was quite interesting. They came up with wetland areas and new horse trails and different ideas that will be presented to the council by secretary there. The only other thing I want to say is I want to keep it short. Is I did attend multiple things. I attended an interfaith prayer day, which was very interesting. I attended the Ohm Foundation run and walk in Thomaston Park. And I also, at Barclay School, I attended an Indian Heritage Culture Day, which I learned so much about the Indian culture. Even though my son-in-law is Indian, I went over and taught him some things about the Indian culture, which he appreciated. He didn't even know about it. Armed Forces Day was fantastic. I really enjoyed that day. I just want to mention one more thing. Memorial Day, we have to remember Memorial Day not only on Memorial Day. I think we have to think about that every single day. I had friends that died in Vietnam, and I think about them all the time. So don't restrict your prayers and thoughts for our veterans that died just on that one day. Please think about them every day, because that's why we're here today with motions and votes and freedom. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Siegel, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Couple comments. First, I want to just commend the mayor, the township administration, the finance department, and anyone else involved in the budget process. This is a very comprehensive and well-balanced budget. And I know the budget philosophy has focused around affordability, and you can see that theme running through this budget. It's a true sentiment to the full team as they continue to look for funding opportunities and through grants and shared services, et cetera. And it maintains to continue to enhance our services that we provide and elevate the quality of life for all of our citizens. So again, thank you. I want to do a special thank you to the finance department. I know you spent a lot of time answering our questions, so very timely and thoroughly, so thank you very much. And I want to just touch upon a couple. I've gone to recycling, new area. It's really beautiful. The paving came out nice, and that foam cycle machine, the only way I can describe it, it's very cool. And I did learn from the DPW gentlemen that were there, which I do appreciate and thank them for taking the time out on Saturday to show me around a little bit. But they were saying it's about 17 bags of styrofoam that crushes down to something about this size. It's pretty neat. And what they do with it, what you can sell it and do with it is pretty interesting too. So when you see pictures, or as Council President said, stop by, it's very interesting. The senior center, I know Mr. Weinberg talked about that a little while ago too. That pavilion is beautiful. I know we talk about the library being a crown jewel in our community, but that facility is beautiful also. And I know Councilwoman Schneider used to really tout the services that we offer through there. So if you haven't had an opportunity as a senior, please do go and use that facility because it is truly beautiful. The 11th Annual Heritage Day that the Indian Cultural Group provided. These events are beautiful. I've attended a couple of them throughout the year, and it's such a wonderful way for all of us to come together and learn about heritage and culture and be able to appreciate one another and learn together. Memorial Day services, I know we do such a wonderful job in our township to really honor our veterans. And I think we do really try to keep them in the forefront. But it was a beautiful ceremony. It was so nice to see so many people out there honoring our veterans this year, especially for all their service to our community and the country. And I, too, attended the Oak Tree Arbor Day celebration with Mr. DePiero. The Shade Tree Commission did a wonderful job. It was such a cute event to see these little kindergartners and third graders that although they learned from our forester, we also learned from them. It was pretty impressive to know that third graders and kindergartners knew about photosynthesis and glucose. So that was pretty impressive. So thank you for that invitation. And again, thank you to Tidbury Creek for their donation. And then I just want to share a couple items for your calendars for some of the commissions that I liaison to. The Cultural Arts Commission has a Midnight Rock Show, a 1970s tribute band performing at the PAC this Sunday. This Sunday, June 4th, I think is the date. Tickets are on sale now, so please do check out the commission's website. I know they have signs and flyers all over town. And summer concerts are coming out soon from the Cultural Arts Commission. The first one's July 6th in Thompson Park. If you haven't attended, Thompson Park is beautiful for sunsets, so do try to come and enjoy some of these concerts. And I know they advertise that everywhere too, and I think it was in the Monroe News. And the Historic Preservation Commission, they had their first open house last month, which they had the perfect May day and had a wonderful turnout. And their next one is June 4th from 1 to 4, and they have the guest speaker for this month, in addition to tours, is a local resident and Native American artifact collector, Andrew Floriak. So I wanted to share that, and I also want to let anyone who happens to be going into the high school for any events anytime soon, the commission, Historic Preservation Commission, had put together alongside the Rocapa Honor Society an exhibit for the veterans. So please do take a look at it if you happen to be in the high school. It's a beautiful exhibit that they've put together. And that's my update.
So many things over the last month, and so many things throughout the town. And most of my other other councilmen and women have already mentioned, but Armed Forces Day The thing that to me stands out about that is that it's not just recognizing all of our veterans, which is a great, great thing to do, but it also brings our high school kids and gets them involved and shows them and helps to teach them what their elders had been through. And I don't know if some of the people may or may not know, but at the end, the high school kids get together and they have teams and they play different sports along with some of our senior citizens. So it's a nice get together. It's a very warm thing, and it's a nice way to celebrate. I actually went to two Memorial Day celebrations, one at Clearbrook and then our township one Memorial Day over at Avenue K. And I do remember the speaker saying, Memorial Day is to remember those that have passed. It's not the day that you're supposed to necessarily remember those that are served but are still with us. And I do agree with what Councilman Markell said. Let's remember every day about those that have passed. And the only thing I disagree slightly with that speaker is that I think in addition to remembering those that passed, there's no reason we cannot also remember and thank those who have served, even if they're still with us, because they went through tremendous sacrifice themselves, and I think it's always a nice thing to remember them. If you see a veteran, sometimes you might be at the supermarket and they're sitting waiting for the bus, just say to them, thank you for your service, and sometimes that's all it takes to make their day, and like anybody else, let them know that they're appreciated. Couple of other items. We're about a year and a half into the Ukrainian war. I will continue to support the Ukrainian people in their fight against the Russian aggression. I urge everyone else to do so. Recycling yard, great job over there. I have not yet been there, but I will be, and I've heard nothing but great things about that. The Blue Envelope program that the chief and the officers talked about tonight. What a great idea that is, and it's so simple to help people who might be limited, whether it would be autism or whatever, and they're driving. Scary. It's scary when you get pulled over by the cops. The lights are on, and just imagine someone who might have some mental limitations, how even worse it might be for them. So for them to have them, I think what it does is it could help put them at ease, and it could also help prevent a potential tragedy. Because every now and then you'll see on the news where the police respond and perhaps the person who they're going after might be mentally challenged and do not act appropriately when they see the police. So this will hopefully help prevent something like that from ever occurring here. So another great thing done by our police, who we already laud for keeping us as the second safest community in the state, whatever it may be. I also had the benefit of making it over to the Indian Heritage Day. Great job that they did, and like you say, you learn stuff that you don't know. I think that's one of the nice things about our town, is that we have a certain amount of diversity, and you learn how other people are, and that's how you learn how to get along, and by understanding their culture and incorporating with our own culture, it's just a great thing, and it reflects how I think our country is supposed to be. Couple of other things. One thing I saw that I did want to mention, and I don't know how any of the other teams are doing at the high school, but the Monroe Township High School boys lacrosse won the 5th straight GMC title. 5 years in a row they've been champions now. So what an accomplishment that is, right? I thought that was great. Another thing I saw was we now have and I'm the representative to the Rec Advisory Committee. So one of the things I learned, we now have a cricket club at the high school, which is a new thing. There's maybe 5 or 6 towns in the entire county that have that. So it's hard when you're starting like a new sport, because a lot of the other schools don't have the sport. So you're trying to set up games. Well, who do you play? So they're working on that. I think North Edison, J.P. Stevens, South Brunswick, and there's 2 or 3 other towns that have it, and they're working it in. So it's a nice thing, and it's all put together nicely. And that leads me to one of the persons that helped put it together was Sean Dowling, our athletic director. Before I talk about Sean, I do want to also mention the budget. I have to compliment our administration and all the people that worked on this. Not only do we have another budget with no new municipal taxes, they also managed to maintain our AA bond rating again for another year. They maintain the appropriate levels of surplus that we're supposed to have. We've had improvements to our roads, and we've also upgraded many of our recreational facilities, including going to be adding on with the pickleball, the volleyball, the soccer, the cricket. So many things that are getting done. Continue to fund our police and our EMS so we can, continue to be safe and provide the services we need, and so many other things that go on with the seniors and everything else. And they all do it, maintaining the budget, though. So that's just a tip of the hat. And I want to thank Mr. Weinberg and George and all the other people that work on this. You guys do just a tremendous job. So regarding Mr. Dowling, many times we have employees come before us. They get to the point where they're retiring, and we get to congratulate them for the contributions they've made. And, being the council rep to the rec advisory, I got to know all these people who run all the programs, the volunteers, the baseball, the basketball, softball, soccer, ice hockey, wrestling, table tennis, lacrosse, special needs, cricket, even cheerleading and football and the summer camps, all these things that we run through our rec department and stuff. And part of the reason that we have a lot of these programs is so that when the kids can get to the high school, they can be somewhat competitive and help, help be better athletes when they get to the school. So a lot of this stuff's done in coordination with the athletic director, and there's maybe 15, 20 different people involved with this. And to a T, at our meeting 2 months ago, I'll tell you that every single person there complimented Mr. Dowling on the job that he's done. That's not me, that's them talking. And he said that he helped them develop the new programs, the things like the cricket, and some of the other sports that are now being introduced in lower levels, like volleyball was not something that we had like in middle school. So trying to get things like that started lower. Well, it all takes time, effort, and work to get that type of thing done. In 2021, and I don't know where we were the last year, I couldn't find the statistics, but in 2021, we had 28 Division I and Division II college commitments. That means like our athletes wound up playing college sports. 28 of them. That's quite a huge number for a town like Monroe. I know Athletic Director Dowling helped oversee the work done on the new turf field and helped coordinate with that. For some reason, the position that he's had is being eliminated. I understand other positions are being created. I don't know why, and there might be a good reason for it. Some may say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm hearing there's a chance his contract may not be renewed, and if that's true, I truly believe it'll be a tremendous loss for Monroe sports and for our rec programs. I feel this man's done a great job, deserves recognition for what he's done, and should not be summarily dismissed. So if he does not return, I want to personally thank Sean Dowling for what he's done to help the kids of Monroe Township. And that's my report. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I seem to remember numerous conversations that said that the mayor and the council did not want to see a rise in the budget. We wanted it to stay steady. So it is with pleasure that I once more ask you to deliver your message.
Thank you kindly, Council President, for allowing me the opportunity to provide some commentary and some updates. Certainly, I would be remiss if I did not start off my report with the acknowledgement of Memorial Day. And I think you have seen how important it is for all of us that, every time we're out there in regards to those special dates such as Veterans Day, 9/11, and but most importantly Memorial Day. For me, it was well attended. Probably our service on Monday morning was probably the most I've seen attend, which was great. The the entire month, it was a military appreciation month, and for me, it started with the watching of the movie called Devotion. It was a movie that was released last year about Ensign Jesse Brown of the U.S. Navy, the first African-American pilot in the armed forces for the United States. It was a great movie, and out of that movie got me thinking a little bit more about Memorial Day. Now, obviously, we all have something deep in our hearts in regards to Memorial Day. Being the son of a veteran, as well as having numerous, contemporaries that went on. There was even a portion of the time of my son he was in the Air Force ROTC, and I thought that's where he was heading. So there's all something very, very special and deep in our hearts, but the movie Devotion really hit me. And it kind of made me think about what I wanted to say on Memorial Day. And obviously, thanking all of those who were there was certainly very important, but I read a letter that Ensign Jesse Brown wrote to his wife before he was killed in action. And she did not receive that letter until 3 weeks after his passing. But it was a very raw, emotional, and loving letter that affected her. And we talk about, Memorial Day, about paying that ultimate sacrifice. Well, the individual paid that ultimate sacrifice, but everyone that was associated with Ensign Brown did as well. So I did read that letter, and I think it was very important, and I highly recommend, if you have not seen that movie, you should watch it. One quick budget comment on the budget. I always look at the budget as a process. It is indeed a process that is always going on. It culminates here. Thanking the administration, thanking the council members. But as we come here for the budget hearing, I'd like to thank the citizens as well for coming out, because you're part of the process as well. And then again, I guess just ask for your patience for one more month before hopefully DCA is able to give us the clean bill of health on it and the final approval. And then obviously we'll have the vote at our next meeting. I know the talk of the recycling yard was the topic du jour, and I again would like to share in that. I was there for the opening of it right before I headed out to work, and I saw it in motion. And as I was there, the improvements, I would say the feeling I got just makes it a little less intimidating, because it's so clean. It's the signage, the lines, the asphalt, and the people there. All I got to say is there was a lot of happy citizens coming in, obviously a lot of happy DPW workers there as well. But it's okay to let go of things. And there's a beautiful thing about that recycling yard. It's okay to let go of things. And what a beautiful place to leave it. But with the grant that we got and what we do with it, that's the magic. That's where we can start recouping some financially in regards to the act of recycling. And you think about it, it's good for the earth, it certainly is, but it's also good for our pocketbook as well. So please just keep that in mind. On the note of specifically regarding getting the grant for the machine at the yard, we also received a grant for the Clean Communities grant of $118,000 that was just announced. That's up over $13,000, so that's a good thing. And also, since I'm on the topic of grants, I'm pleased to announce the township applied for and is receiving a $76,000 grant for 2 volleyball courts at Avenue K Veterans Park. These will join the 2 volleyball courts that we are under current design at Patriots Park on Half Acre Road. So it's always good item to report on. I also, in regards to the Blue Envelope program, I do want to thank Bill, Kim, and especially Matthew for bringing this to my attention. And it was with excitement that I brought it to the chief, and he says, let's go for it. We did our due diligence, we did our research, and in conjunction what the state is doing with driver's license, I think it's just a great program to be part of. Speaking of program, we are partnering with the county surrogate this year at the library, which deals with wills, probate matters, and livings trust. It's certainly very convenient to our residents to have that service at the library, so if you are in need of any type of service, please take a look at the library. I also want to congratulate the Monroe Senior Softball League. They had their opening day about a week or two ago. This was an organization that was created by the residents. They brought it to the rec department, and they are putting Thomas Allen Fields to good use on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. And if you're out and about, you should really go take a look at them play. They're a little too competitive, which is a little scary sometimes, but it was quite entertaining. I do also want to remind everyone our fishing derby at Thompson Park is on Saturday, June 10th at 9 a.m. Our spray park at Veterans Park is open and being enjoyed by many. So if the softball league is a little too scary for you, you can always go to Veterans Park and enjoy the spray park. The library will be hosting our farmers market again beginning Thursday, June 22nd from 2:30 to 6:30. And again, this will continue every Thursday through mid-September. I know it was a very popular destination for our residents, and we're happy to roll that out again. Next Mayor's Wellness event is Tai Chi. It's Saturday, June 3rd at 9:30 at Veterans Park. Please call the Monroe Township Mayor's Office for information and to register. So far, we've had some very successful sessions to promote positivity, wellness, and well-being. Unfortunately, the bike ride had to be canceled because of the weather, and we're talking about paving, and I think it's just a great marriage of bike riding and paving. So as I roll around Monroe Township, I usually ride about 30 miles a week, and I do get to see a lot of the pavement, and sometimes things aren't all that good, but I have to say that the one road in Monroe that I was happy to ride on was Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, the hill by BFI. Now, normally when I go riding around, I try to stay on level ground, but I was preparing to ride my bike in New York City for the TD 5-borough bike ride, which was earlier in May 7th, which was 40 miles. Now, I can do 40 miles, but I've never really ridden a bike over bridges. I had to ride over 5 different bridges, one being the Queensboro, which actually was the toughest. But the last bridge that I had to ride over was the Verrazano Bridge. So I have to commend Monroe for Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, that I kept pedaling up and down that road, didn't fall down. Now, obviously, going down was a lot easier, but that's where you have to watch out for the potholes. But obviously, I was able to accomplish that feat of doing the 40 miles in New York, and I have to thank the Monroe Roads for helping me with that. So, wow, boy, that's really on a tangent on that one. I'm sorry about that one. Let me just close with, it's June 1st tomorrow. The weather's changing to that nice spring air. Hopefully, the pollen will be starting to be doused a little bit. Please get out there, enjoy those nicely paved roads on your bicycle, walk it. We have beautiful parks, and again, as was mentioned before, for those of you who will be celebrating a happy Father's Day, please enjoy. Thank you kindly, and thank you, Council President, for allowing me a moment of your time.
We will like to open for public comments now, please. Remember, it is 5 minutes per speaker. I would like a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very good. Please, wish to speak, come to the microphone, your name and address for our records.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beth DePiero, 404 Spotswood Gravel Hill Road in Monroe. Those of us who have Verizon Internet are not getting our Monroe channels. We have two of them, channel 32 and 40. It's been going on now about 3 weeks, and I called Verizon. They said it's not them, it's us. So from something that I heard from someone else, when they called the township and was sent to communications, they said it's something in the high school that from the past storm that we had, something was knocked out, but it's been 3 weeks now. And I rely on that channel because I can't go to every meeting, and I do watch that channel, either channel, 32 or 40, and neither of them are working. So it's definitely a problem with the Verizon hookup at the high school.
Mr. Weinberg?
So, thank you. Appreciate the question. So you are correct. The server, as I understand it, at the high school no longer functions. We are in the process of partnering with the Board of Ed to purchase a new server so that this can all come back online, as we've been previously partners with them on it. In the interim, and we should put this on our website because you bring up a good point. You can obviously watch all of our meetings, not just on YouTube, but also on the PEG channel. So I'll ask our person to put up a post so that people know exactly how they can still find that content. I do believe that it will be down for several weeks more until the server is up, but we should advise the public on where they can find that content. So it's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone wish? Yes.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street, and thank you. I'm glad that that got worked out because that's essential to our transparency and public participation. The NJDOT grant, and I missed when Mr. Razmowitz was talking about what road that grant was covering. I'm sorry, sir.
Mr. Razmowitz, please.
Sure, that was a NJDOT local aid grant, Spotswood Gravel Hill from approximately Avenue K to Eric, essentially Avenue K up to Matchaponics,
Okay.
minus the areas that we just paved at the intersection.
Thank you. So the resolution R52023-165, the resolution about for R3M engineering for professional engineering design and construction in connection with Mounts Mills Waters relocation project. Why is that being relocated? What is the necessity for that, if you will?
You want to do it, Mark?
I think.
Council President, this water main relocation is part of the intersection project with the county under the municipal agreement and of the county and municipality agreement. We're responsible for relocation of any of the water or sanitary
Okay.
sewer utility.
The traffic.
Okay, it's not, my concern is always that we have all these developers in town, and it's not to accommodate the developers.
No, it's a
because
county-
they should
no.
be
County
paying for
intersection
that
project.
themselves. Okay, in my opinion. And let's see, what's the next one? The next one is 166. I just don't understand that one, 29,000. Resolution award of contract for uniform rental services. Is that to join the cooperative purchasing program? Is that a yearly fee that we pay, and then we're entitled to all of the services from that program?
Mr. Weinberg, please, yes.
So this is something we do each year for our employees, that through their contracts where they get a certain number of uniforms, I believe it's 11, and then they get washed. And the cheapest way to do this, or the most cost effective, I should say, was to do it through a national co-op and Cintas. This is a new vendor for us, which I believe the departments are excited about. And so that's what it is.
Okay. And I do want to thank the council and whoever is involved, the mayor, for the wonderful recycling of the styrofoam, which is probably the worst thing we can put into our environment. And I think, it's great to get money back and all that, but to keep the health of our planet and our community, I think that's essential. And I hope we do get money back, but even if we don't resolve that, I mean, that's $73,000. Well, that was grant funds. But even if it starts to accumulate, the best thing that can happen is we can keep our environment healthy and keep our children healthy based on that. So I thank you very much for that. And I think I might be done. The authorizing the performance, I think I'm done. Thank you very much. Have a good spring and summer.
Anyone else wishing to address us? Yes, sir, please come forward. Your name and address for our records.
Good evening. I'm Harold Kane, 480B Newport Way in Rossmore. Mark brought up an issue earlier in the presentation when we talked about Prospect Plains. I want to pick his brain on something that was an issue here briefly, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I remember Wayne Hamilton was a business administrator. And when you mentioned about, it's okay to address Mark?
You can direct your question to
the
council.
The council president.
Okay. The issue came up was there was a proposal, I don't know if it was the county or the state, to widen Prospect Plains from the Cranberry line, where it's 5 lanes. And as you get into Monroe, it squeezes down as you get to Applegarth. Well, the proposal was to widen it all the way out as far as Applegarth. And I think there was a little discussion of possibly going past it, but phase 1, if you want to use that, would have been just to Applegarth. And an issue came up over the Rossmore flooding at the same time. And the issue was, well, if you're widening the road, you have a bridge you have to reconstruct. Why not expand the throughput under the bridge, do it all at once, and possibly preclude a certain level of flooding in Rossmore? Well, I guess nothing ever happened with that.
Is what happened to that initiative?
Yeah, what is that? What? Nothing's happened, obviously.
Do you have any knowledge of that, Mr. Anthony?
Well, Council President,
I'm picking his brain on this one.
I'm aware that probably about 20 years ago there was talk of 5 lanes,
Right.
widening that road to 5 lanes.
Oh, this was since 2011.
Council President, the current plan is it's 3 lanes, similar to what's there now in front of the Four Seasons community, with a lane and a shoulder in each direction, and then a center turning lane for left-hand turns.
That is the plan.
So that is the proposed plan. The culvert crossing for Rossmore near the Cranberry border, that area is widened already. There's no proposed improvements for that culvert or widening in that area. It will be repaved, but that would be it.
But no other, nothing to increase the throughput under Prospect Plains.
Not under this. And this is primarily the intersection of Applegarth and Prospect Plains, and the improvements include road widening to the Cranberry border in certain areas across the rail tracks.
Yeah.
But essentially, what's in front of Four Seasons is what it will be for the entire length.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Anyone else have a question for the council? Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay would be nice, folks. Okay, may we have a motion to